I hope we're on YouTube. You gonna do it on Facebook? Uh-oh.
What?
I fucked up.
Oh.
There we are. Okay.
Hello.
There we are.
How are
so
you?
Big Cup Sky. Hopefully we started up. I gotta check YouTube.
Dude, where's your mask?
Yeah, I'm sorry. With an abundance of caution, Chris has decided to use social distancing and masks to not catch anything from me.
That's right.
Although I have to say, I mean, I did have a mask and I was going to do the whole thing, but I'm starting to feel a little. Everybody's getting so scared that I wonder if not right now is the time to make fun of it.
Yes,
Although,
it is.
I think you should put a hole right there so you can put your pipe in.
It's gonna happen. Definitely gonna happen.
So yes, it's coronavirus time here at the Beat Cops Guide. Why is this? I had this perfect. Why is this?
What is wrong, man?
The effect on the behind us is not.
That's not an effect. We're really there. What are you talking about? Effect? What do you mean, Dave? I don't understand.
It must be something about you.
It probably is. The inside of me is all green. So.
All right. Anyway, so so we're here at the Beat Cops Guide. My name is David Haynes. I'm a Chicago Police Lieutenant. However, when I'm doing these podcasts or the radio show where I'm on Bob Surratt in the morning on WGN, I don't speak for the police department. I only talk about my opinion. We talk about food. We talk about movies. We talk about coronavirus. We talk about whatever rolls through our mind. I'm sorry. And this is Bull Garlington of the Moose Lodge.
Well, hang on. It's Buffalo, man. Buffalo Lodge.
The International Order of the Water Buffaloes.
And Dave, why do you have such a gigantic corncob pipe? Eisenhower. Does the
General
bowl go
MacArthur.
all the way down?
Huh?
Is it really that deep?
Yeah.
You can smoke that for like half of a day.
No, it's not. It's only up to. Whoop.
Hello.
Sorry, it's only up to here.
Oh, well, that sucks.
To the stem.
I want it to be.
This is my genuine General MacArthur pipe. Since we're on war footing here, I figured I should.
What does
pull
war
it out.
footing mean?
I don't know. It means we're smoking bigger pipes and hunkered down. I went and bought a bunch of frozen food and canned food today.
Tell us about your trip to Costco, Dave.
No, I didn't go to Costco. I went to Mariano's, but once Donald Trump, as we're recording this today, Donald Trump has just announced a state of emergency, and Governor Pritzker has announced that all the schools in the state are closed and all gatherings. I mean, we're basically on martial law around here. Although you notice they're not calling it that. Well, I guess martial law.
It's not martial law. That's why they're not calling it that.
Everything except
State
for
of
a
emergency.
curfew. Everything except for a curfew to be required for martial law.
No, there's one more thing.
What's that?
That the army has to be controlling stuff. Then it's martial law.
That makes sense.
Because that's correct.
All right,
Dave's going to have to work on his pipe for a minute.
All right, so
We can actually have pipe wars right here.
this is an actual, genuine MacArthur. It's made by the same company that made them back then. It's even got the burned ring around. Apparently, when General MacArthur would order these pipes, he would burn a ring around here. I don't know why. Maybe to identify it from him, from some other five-star general's pipes. I don't know.
What the fuck?
Set the house on fire.
What the hell, man?
Is there something? Are you bumping up against this thing or
No,
something?
I swear to God. Is it my hat?
All right. So, there you go. All right. So, what else? Oh, so I went to Mariano's, and I just figured I'd go get some frozen stuff, some canned food, another case of water, just, because now that they close the schools, and I'm figuring we're going to be kind of hunkered down here for the weekend. I happen to be off this weekend, too. And it was jam freaking packed. No parking spaces. I had to park, like, sort of illegally. And the toilet paper and paper towel aisle completely empty. Gone. Not even the cheap crap is there. All gone, which luckily we stocked up last week, so I'm okay with that. But they still had plenty of water. Still had no ground beef. I don't know why. They had other stuff, but ground beef was in short supply. What else?
It's America. That's what we eat.
Yeah, I guess they're hamburgers, but it's steak. So I mean, but you know what? In the end, I bought a bunch of crap. I bought like frozen pizza. I brought stuff because I figured the kids were going to be here, and we're all going to be sort of on each other's nerves after a couple days. So
I'm telling you, my wife is. I'm pretty sure my wife's about to work at home for the next 30 days.
yeah,
So I'm going to need a place to stay soon.
yeah. My wife has the ability. I don't think she'd be able to work at home the entire week, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's there at least half the time.
It's going to end in divorce. I know it.
Or actually, we were talking about this at work. There's going to be right around Christmas time. You count on it. I'm making a prediction. You heard it here first. There's going to be the coronavirus boom,
Oh, the baby boom?
the baby coronavirus boom, because it's going to be a lot of people
How many
spending a lot
babies
of
are going to be
time.
named Corona?
I don't know.
How many babies are going to be named Virus?
CV. It could be coronavirus.
How's that? There. No one needs to be worried about.
All right. So let's talk about this morning. Okay, so I did my restaurant review on WGN with Bob Surratt this morning. Only
You're on the radio?
they called me yesterday and said that due to an abundance of caution, they WGN was not allowing in studio guests, so I had to do it by the phone, which I know Bob hates doing shit by the phone. He said that more than once, but so I did the review by phone. And which was nice because I got to do it here, and I didn't have to drive all the way downtown. But and I reviewed a Pan Asian restaurant called Noodles Etc. down by Hyde Park, down by the University of Chicago. Beautiful restaurant. It's like 1337 West 57th Street, East 57th Street. Beautiful restaurant. Great food. Pan Asian. They had these chicken and shrimp dumplings that were great. And he's like, well, I'm glad you're reviewing an Asian restaurant, because a lot of people are taking this coronavirus to be some sort of, like, that they don't want to go to Asian restaurants. I'm like, that's stupid.
That's like during the bird flu, like nobody was eating crows or pigeons.
You eat pigeons?
Yeah.
I never eat pigeons.
Do you know why there are pigeons in the United States?
Because the cockroaches got really big and grew
No.
wings?
Because somebody imported them because in their native land, which I'm fairly certain is England, they're a food bird. They're delicious. Have you ever had squab?
Yes.
That's pigeon.
No, it's squab.
It's pigeon, man. It's the same bird. It's the same bird. So I go hunting downtown a lot. Me and my dog, 30-06. I'm not trying to. I'm mostly ruin them. If you hit them with a 30-06, you're a good shot.
Yeah, that's good.
So for me, it's a matter of personal challenge.
Well, you know what? If you
like
if
golf.
you really wanted to be legit, you should do it with a slingshot.
It's like golf.
Not just a slingshot with the rubber things. A
But
slingshot
the thing where I
where you
like
spin
this.
it. Yeah, like David and Goliath.
Yeah, that's what I should do. But
Speaking of David and Goliath.
speaking of David and
I'm
Goliath,
gonna go off on a tangent. Did you ever hear the Malcolm Gladwell speech about David and Goliath and how we think about it as we call David and Goliath a little person versus a big person and a little person coming out on top. In reality, Goliath never had a freaking chance against David.
no. If you've seen those, if you ever watch one of those shows where they test ancient weapons, I saw one where they used a sling.
Yeah.
That dude, that's like a rifle.
Right.
Yeah, those guys were good, man.
They could hit a squab in flight.
It wasn't the first time he
200
used
meters.
it, I mean, he was good at it.
Yeah, he protected the sheep from the lions. Or,
Which is, you gotta wonder. If he would stand out there and go, "Here I am protecting sheep from lions, and all I got is a freaking sling."
yeah.
I mean, it is really filling up with smoke in here, man. We might need a fan. Oh my God!
I was thinking about installing one over there. But all right, so all right, should we talk about the elephant in the room, or the
Dude,
coronavirus?
I'm trying, man. All right, I'm exercising and I'm eating right.
Oh, for the love of Christ! Everything is not about you, Chris. We're in the middle of a pandemic over here.
Pandemic.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to do the thing. Keep
Oh.
talking. I'm not on Facebook.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So yeah, I forgot to check to see if we're on YouTube too. All right. So, but I one of the things I said when I was on the radio this morning is, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, the police department's still working. We're all still there. There's the basic functions of society. I hope they don't stop. We don't have anybody yet in the police department that's sick, so everybody's showing up for work and doing their job. The fire department, same thing. The firemen are on the job. This whole thing about closing the schools, they closed all the schools in Illinois today. And, which, again, I was kind of saying that the way the disease was going in the last couple of weeks, we're approaching spring break, and I don't know how it is anywhere else, but in Illinois, spring break, the public schools have the week before Easter off, and the Catholic schools have the week after Easter off. And I had said, really, since this thing broke, they ought to just combine both of them and have 2 weeks off for everybody. And I guess it's moving to the point.
You can't have Catholic kids off at the same time as other kids.
The publics, yeah, you can't.
You just can't do that, man.
But I
Catholic
think
kids get their ass kicked.
Well, that's what they're doing now. So, what else was I going to say?
Pandemic.
You know what else, though? I was listening to the Governor Pritzker do the school closings, which, by the way, I think, here's what I think, and tell me what you think of this.
Hit me again, man.
I think we're kind of overblowing it, but I don't think that's a bad thing. One of the things that Governor Pritzker said, who I don't agree with on much, but one of the things he said is you better to be criticized for doing too much than to have to live with yourself because you didn't do something you could have done. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, doing all this stuff we're doing, we're trying to prevent the pandemic. Really, it doesn't affect kids, but the kids have to go home to grandma, and they're going to bring the shit home to them and me, and I don't want that.
And they'll carry it around and give it to teacher to teacher. You know? So
I'm not opposed to any of this. And plus, I think that even though we might be overblowing this whole situation, it's a good test of the entire system as a whole.
Well, I mean, we're going to learn really quickly that way more people can work at home than currently did.
Right.
And we're going to learn that way more students can learn at home than currently did. This is going to change a lot of stuff.
I think e-learning is going to be a much bigger thing. I would not be shocked to see if we cut the school week where you would do a day or two online.
I'm pretty sure that my wife's company is going to tell people to work at home, and so we're putting together this weekend. We're putting her office together. We've been meaning to do it forever, but now we're doing it for real because there's stuff she needs, right? And also she kind of needs privacy because she makes a lot of phone calls that are proprietary, But my fear is that at the end of this thing, they're going to go, "Hey, that worked out great. Why don't you just stay there?"
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like, man, how am I going to get away with the stuff I used to get away with during the day when my wife is at home now? I'm going to have to, you know what? I'm going to end up working myself to death because she's home. She's going to be, I noticed that you're not writing right now.
Yeah,
Maybe you
could take out the garbage.
Yeah. But, here's the thing, man. Sometimes writing involves me going like this.
Yeah, so you look like you're doing nothing.
You look like you're doing nothing. It's all in here.
And plus,
it's all in here.
I mean, I once you start writing, and I've noticed this. I mean, I'm a lazy writer, but I do. It takes about 20, 30 minutes to get going, to sitting there thoughtfully, to really getting into it, and then when you're really getting into it, somebody interrupts you.
Okay.
Hey, can you take out the garbage? Well, then that's only 2 minutes to take out the garbage. But then you have to
you're
reset.
You're out.
You have to it takes you another half an hour to get into it.
Here's the thing, though. I completely disagree with you about the thing you just said. It does take some people that long to get in, but it's only if you don't write at the same time every day.
Right. Yeah.
If you set yourself up with a regular habit of writing at the same time in the same place, then it's like yoga. Your body will begin to move you towards. Every morning, the moment I touch my coffee cup and take it off the coffee maker, my body's like, let's go to the office. Let's sit down and write. And then as soon as I open my keyboard, I'm in, man. I'm flying.
Well, I can see that. You said that a lot, and I am not one of those people. That's probably why I'm never getting anything accomplished because I don't sit down and have proper habits.
Maybe.
So, but okay. So here's the thing. I'm listening to Governor Pritzker talk about all this stuff, and I'm pretty much agreeing with him. But the one thing I don't agree with, and I all sides, this is a serious incident. Stop making political hay out of it. My God.
What do you
I mean,
mean?
when Governor Pritzker talks about, okay, we're going to have to close the schools and we're going to have to take these actions because we're long past the point where we can't count on the federal government to give us any leadership. Literally 5 minutes after the president declared an emergency and had a whole big crowd of people giving different things. Now, whether you agree with him or not is up to you.
Hey, Dave. Hey.
But I'm
okay
sorry.
now?
This is we should be pulling
Are you
together,
okay?
not using it to make a political cheap political points against your opponents. You know, I mean, it just drives me nuts. God,
Does it really?
does everything have to be political?
Yes.
Everything.
He's a governor.
He's a governor, so he's responsible for all the people, Republicans and Democrats. Shut the fuck up about any.
Oh, my
politics.
God. Dave F. word.
I'm sorry, but it just pisses me off.
Dude, will you quit walking behind us?
Everything doesn't have to be politics.
God, freaking Republican. Yeah, I get you about that. So let's move on. Trump's an idiot. For the following
Let's move on
reasons.
means he doesn't want to.
Oh no, I'll engage. I'm ready.
He doesn't want to agree with me because
I'm ready.
He agrees with me, but he doesn't want to say it. That's what it is.
I actually do agree with you. I don't think that it was required for him to castigate the president like that. I think that if you as a governor wish to chastise the executive in chief, that you should do it in a formal letter, and not in a broadcast or a tweet. You should be real about it.
That's interesting.
And I think he can do it. There's no reason for him. If it's a real thing, he should of course do it. He's a governor. That's his job.
I'm just saying in this setting of we're all going to pull together. We need to do this to save ourselves.
Right. He should be focused on the people and not on.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in this setting. I'm not saying that the governor should never criticize the president.
Right? We agree.
Yeah.
Don't touch me, man.
Social distancing.
Yeah. So this toilet paper thing, I tried on a couple of days ago. I tried to go online because I do everything online. So I went on Amazon to buy toilet paper. Guess what? There wasn't any on Amazon. All right, you think there's not any in Jewel, dude? Amazon didn't have any. So I ended up having to scroll way down, and I bought RV and marine quality toilet paper, which I don't even know what it is. I'm afraid to open it. And then I bought some like vegan, gluten-free, bamboo-based toilet paper. It was very expensive, which I'm like, you guys get 1 square of this a day. And then I bought these other ones, and I didn't really pay much attention to them, and they came in as single rolls, right? And they're wrapped up and sealed, and they're from China. They're made in China. I'm like, I'm not opening this. I'm never going to use this on myself. It's not going to happen. So I had many, many months ago, I bought a Tushy. Do you know what a Tushy is? What does that mean? Are we off the air?
On YouTube.
No, we're not. I'm looking at it here. Oh, that's Facebook.
All right, so we're still on Facebook. That's right. I'll you know what? I'll give it a shot to turn YouTube on again, but otherwise we'll just take the Facebook feed and put it on the YouTube.
Anyway, so I bought Tushy is a bidet attachment for your toilet. All right. So you screw it on behind the lid, you hook it up to the pipes, and then you can use it to wash your pipes. And so I got it many months ago because I'm like, well, this will save us money, and plus it's better, and blah blah blah. And my wife goes, "Don't you dare put that up there." She goes, I'm not gonna use that. That's gross. And I'm like, why is it gross? She goes, "You gonna poop it?" I'm like, no, it's designed. Blah blah blah. So I didn't put it on. I'm like, there's gonna be a day.
The day when it
There's
comes.
gonna be a day when it's gonna be painfully obvious that we need that. And so I just kind of set it aside. And yesterday I hooked it up, and I got to tell you, it's pretty awesome. But you got to be careful. Like after I set it up, I bent over to test it and squirted myself right in the face.
That's every movie bidet trope in the world.
Classic. I can't believe I did that. And also that first second when it hits you, where the sun don't shine, ice cold. It is.
The pucker factor is raised at that point.
It is intense, yeah. But apparently your butthole is designed to accommodate, and so that feeling goes away very quickly. And it is a delightful thing. And I'm definitely it's the biggest fucking pipe I've ever seen in my life. And if your toilet does mess up, you can shit on your pipe.
There you go.
So yeah, I got a tushy. My toilet paper's made in China, and I'm just saying that this pandemic, there have been worse things in the world.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm not gonna call out scarlet fever and smallpox and all that. Yeah, those are bad, but I'm talking about ergot poisoning.
I don't even know what that means.
So, in the early part of the century, in order to subsidize farmers and be fair and make sure the bread was always fresh everywhere in the country, France implemented this bread shipping system so that no matter where you were, you could always get fresh bread. Except it didn't work out. And everyone often got bread that was not fresh, and they got the wheat that was shipped to them often was shipped from so far away that the grains developed ergot fungus. Ergot is the fungus that they make LSD from. So there was a thing that would happen, and this happened in the Middle Ages too, where they got a thing called St. Anthony's Fire.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
St. Anthony's Fire is like you eat bread that has ergot poisoning in it, and cooking the bread doesn't stop it, all right? And then you get, you start having hot flashes all over your body. You feel as if you're on fire, which is where it comes. It's invisible fire. And then you start tripping balls, and you start hallucinating and freaking out. And so also one of the first things that happens is you get this rush of energy like you snorted a ton of cocaine. And so what would happen is these little towns, everyone would be up all night out in the streets talking and chatting and just like way energized. And then a little while later, they'd see cats walking through the street like dancing and geese like dancing because they had fed them the bread, and they're small and they get it first, right? Then everyone would start freaking out, and they'd see live tigers and things on fire and stuff floating in the sky. And they think that a lot of the Renaissance paintings that were kind of fantastic happened because the artist was tripping on ergot. So LSD has affected our society for much longer than just recently. And just think,
That's a great
this
story.
could be what we're experiencing. Instead of us just going, I may have to use the shower head instead of paper. Count your blessings.
Right, yeah. And, this isn't the first time we've had a toilet paper. I mean, there was a great toilet paper shortage in 1979. Do you remember that?
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Do you really? Because
Nope.
I had to look it up. All right.
No, I thought you were lying. I was going along with you, man. I got your back, Dave.
No, I was like 9
That's
years
how we
old.
work. If Dave bullshits, I jump in behind and make sure that bullshit is in a nice, neat pile.
But somebody referenced in sort of a passing humor about the great toilet paper shortage in 1979, and I was like, what the hell? I never heard of that. So I went and looked up the great, if you look it up, you can Google it. It's on the Googles. And what happened was, Johnny Carson was hosting the Tonight Show. Johnny Carson came out and said, I heard there's a toilet paper shortage in the country, and then because of that, I went and did A, B, and C. And then he told his joke. And it was just a joke. But at that time, so many people watched Johnny Carson and heard him say that there was a toilet paper shortage that they went out and panic bought all the toilet paper and created an actual toilet paper shortage. Like right now, why the hell is everybody so concerned about toilet paper?
Yeah, I know. I don't get that. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure how that happened because, that has nothing to do with the coronavirus.
You don't get diarrhea.
Well, you could, but even then,
No, most people don't.
You're gonna have plenty, right? And but I think that of all the basic functions and necessities that people deal with, running out of toilet paper is the most terrifying. Because if you run out of toilet paper, what are you going to do?
You do like they do in Saudi Arabia. Why
Yeah,
do you,
but then you've
why do you
gotta
think
do
we
this.
shake hands with our right hand?
But then you've got to do that. That's the thing. You've got to. By the way,
for those of you who weren't in the Marine Corps in the field and who at some point probably ran out of the 4 pieces of toilet paper they give you with every meal, that's what happened.
so
This is why we shake hands with our right hand.
yeah,
It's 'cause you use this one for something
lefties
else.
be damned.
That's why they say sinister.
This is one reason why I'm a little bit wary of traveling to India. Not India, to Egypt, because in much of the Middle East, in much of the third world, and in some parts of the Pacific Rim too, they don't have normal toilets.
Pacific Rim, get it?
Jesus Christ!
They don't.
They
in
have
Asia
a hole.
too.
Yeah, they have a hole in the floor. It might be a nice ceramic hole, but it's a hole in the
Yep.
floor, and you squat. And I don't know if you've had a good look at me, but I can't squat. Like, I'm trying. I'm in the gym all the time. I'm training right now.
It's actually not as hard as you would think. I was in Korea for a while and used those. Actually, one of the things, when I was on the ship with, we had a platoon or a company, I can't remember, of Korean Marines. And we had to explain to them, demonstrate how to use the toilet.
Like, you don't stand on it.
Because we were on an LST. On an LST, it's a landing ship troop, which is almost flat bottom. And so when you're on an LST and there's heavy seas, this thing goes like this.
Yay.
So it's going back and forth. So what would happen was the South Korean Marines at the time, who had never used an actual toilet like we did, didn't realize you're supposed to sit on it. So they would balance on the toilet seat to go to the bathroom, and because of the ship's movement, they would be falling over and hurting themselves. We had to actually have a class on how to use the private toilet properly.
Man, I would love to be the guy teaching that class. That would be the greatest thing. You know, I a long time ago, before my daughter was born, it was a bad time economically, and I lost my job, so I had to find another job. And the only one I could find, I went through a temp agency. I was in Orlando, Florida, and I worked for a Regal Marine, right? They build really big yachts. It was really cool. I built yachts. It was actually a pretty cool job.
You're a shipwright?
You know what? Technically, I guess I was. I don't think so, but maybe. Like, I would say 60% of the workforce were Koreans. And they were Koreans who had they had immigrated. Many of them were first generation Koreans who had immigrated here not long after the Korean War or whatever. And some of them were some of the boat people that came over because, they landed in Miami. And so, okay, that's completely historically inaccurate, but don't let that bother you.
Okay.
And so we would frequently...
Spam.
We'll pause the show.
Spam.
We would frequently have a problem because we'd have to explain to new people, like they explained to me, every once in a while you're going to go in the bathroom, you're going to see footprints on the toilet. That's because some of these guys are, cousins that have just come over and they got a job with us, and they haven't really been taught that you're not supposed to stand on the toilet. The other problem is that in Korea, you don't flush your toilet paper. In much of Eurasia and Asia, you don't, because their plumbing is not the same as ours. They don't have giant 3-inch sewer pipes. They have 1-inch sewer pipes, and they'll get clogged, so they put it in a trash can. So you'd walk in the men's room, there'd be a trash can overflowing with people's butt wipes. And they had to explain, you don't got to do that here in the States. And, and listen, I'm not shit-talking.
Wait a minute. No,
I didn't mean that.
It's a cultural thing.
I'm not shit talking Koreans, man. I'm not making fun. These were great guys. I loved them.
I loved Korea when I was there, but I will say I think that you're wrong about the toilet paper. It wasn't, at least when I was there, and I mean I was going back almost 30 years. 30 years I was there, 30 years ago, and a lot of times fertilizer is human waste in Korea. And I mean, the Marine Corps had the military had contracts with people that they would come and clean out, and I thank God for this because I didn't have to do it. They came out and clean out the outhouses, and they would use it in the fields. Yeah. So I mean, and now in the big cities, obviously they didn't, but in the rural area, they still used outhouses, and they still used that.
Yeah, well, that means the stuff that grew in the rural area was sold to restaurants in the cities. So no matter how hard you try.
Oh no! But it uses fertilizer. Right now we use cow shit as fertilizer, so it's not that big of a difference. My point being is that in the cities they had like sewer systems, but in the rural areas they all. So if your guy came from a rural area, he wouldn't be used to flushing toilet paper.
Well, I mean, it was a cool job, by the way. And I worked with a guy whose name was PHUC, pronounced fuck. He's this little 4-foot tall dude. And every time I would bang my head or something in a ship, which is all the time, I would go, fuck, and he'd jump up and he'd go, yes. It was hilarious. And the guy that I work with, I did the carpeting in the hull while the guy behind me wired up the engine compartment. So the whole boat was open, and he was teaching me while he was working. And anytime I mess up, he would throw his tools at me. He'd just scream at me, and they called me Bone Bit, which means brown bear, I think.
Or bone.
I've never looked it up. Could mean something else. I don't know. And he would throw pneumatic drills at me. The whole thing. Hard, man. And I threatened to kill him one time. I had a hot glue gun, and one time he pissed me off so much I shot him with hot glue. He was like, why did you do that? I thought you loved me, man. I'm like, you fucking threw a drill at me. And he goes, yeah, but it's because I love you. And I'm like, no. No, it's not going to work.
All right, so what do we got now?
Well, we're down to food.
Well, I already
But
talked
you
to
already
him.
can already talk about food. So
Well,
we can talk about film.
We can talk about stuff. What do you? Well, I did actually watch a movie, but yeah, at least the next week. I mean, I can't. Everybody's going to hunker down for a week, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So you got to start thinking about what you're going to watch on TV, you know. And I will say I watched a movie this week that I enjoyed very much called Spencer Confidential.
Oh, I saw it too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was good, man.
Mark Wahlberg, I thought it was very good. I have to say, one thing that kind of annoyed me is they obviously set themselves up for a sequel, which always annoys me.
Yeah,
It always annoys me when it's so clearly set up for a sequel.
I like that.
But the other thing is that Winston Duke, who plays Mark Wahlberg's sidekick, and he's from Black Panther. He was in Black Panther. He was like one of the generals in Black Panther. I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't really pay any attention to him in Black Panther. I didn't notice him. But I thought he was fantastic in this movie, and I thought the character was so interesting that I would have liked to have seen a movie of his origin story.
Yeah.
Because there was obviously a backstory to that character,
Yeah.
and they did not go into it at all, except
Nope.
to briefly sort of lay the groundwork. I thought the movie was going to go on for another 2 hours. So
Yeah.
I
mean, he was like a vegan. He was a health nut, and he was very gentle. But it was gigantic, and he was learning how to be a boxer, which means he didn't know how to box before that.
Well, he was learning how to be an MMA fighter.
Oh, an
mixed
MMA
martial
fighter,
arts.
yeah.
And so he was a fighter, and he'd done some time in prison. I think he killed a guy. I think they said he was in for manslaughter. I think very briefly, and there was something about abuse in the family, and it was very a 5-10 minute thing. But it was like I really wanted to find out more about this character, and I thought he played it so great that he
Yeah.
really. Mark Wahlberg, I'm a big fan. I think this Winston Duke stole the show a little bit. I think.
As well as who was the old guy? Alfred. What was his name? I never remember that guy's name, man.
Yeah, I know. He's one of those character actors that's been in a million.
Really
different
fantastic.
movies. You know who he reminded me of was the professor in Futurama. In the whole movie, that's all I kept thinking about whenever I saw him.
Yeah, and the relationship between Wahlberg and the girl from Jersey was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, she's a comedian, and I've never seen her work. I looked her up because I'm like,
Wait, what's her name?
I can't remember her name. I can look it up. But I was sitting there wondering who she was. But I thought she was great because she played this real, like, bitchy girl.
Yeah, she was fantastic.
And she was...
You know what? I think I've seen her act, and it's all about sex.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my wife and I, last night, drank wine and watched Outbreak.
It's Elijah Schlesinger.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't know her. We watched Outbreak, the movie from the...
I'm sorry. Alan Arkin is the old guy.
yeah, that's him. There
Alan
he is.
Arkin, who, he's been in a million different things.
Yeah,
Right.
it's Outbreak was a movie with Morgan Freeman, Dustin Hoffman, and Michelle Pfeiffer, and a couple other people in there. And it's about the outbreak of a virus and how the government doesn't pay attention to it. It gets really bad. And how it's all spread through total stupidity, and the public goes crazy. And it was wrong of us to watch the show. It was wrong of us. But we were bleeping every time that they said the name of the virus, which is like Montauk. We would go, coronavirus, every time. And we were having the best time watching that. It's like black humor. It was maudlin.
Well, I did buy Contagion and started to watch it, but I haven't had time to get too into it. You know, another guy, just going back to Spencer Confidential for a minute, Post Malone was in it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him
Me neither.
at all. Not as an actor or as a person or as a musician.
Well, I don't know about him as a person.
He's got face tattoos. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
Only one person can have a face tattoo, and that's Mike Tyson.
and only I don't understand these face tattoos. I don't.
It's a 1%er thing. Like, you can't go back once you get a face tattoo.
Right.
You've ruined a lot of stuff. You've cut off a lot of corporate stuff in your life. You're not going to get that. And it's like, you know what? What a douche.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I hate that dude, man. I don't hate him. I just, whatever.
Yeah.
I used Mark Wahlberg in a story this week as a timing mechanism. I said it was about as long as it takes Mark Wahlberg in a movie to get his shirt off. So 15 minutes.
And you know who else was good in that was Bokeem Woodbine.
Oh, yeah. Who?
Yeah. He was the bad guy in this, and he was Mark Wahlberg's partner. And he's been in a million things. You know what? You know how you remember him? He looks exactly like Dave Chappelle. This guy right here.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. He's like Dave Chappelle's older brother.
Yeah.
If Dave Chappelle got like a corporate job and was 2 inches taller, he does look like Dave Chappelle. Holy crap. You know, I bet his day is great.
I walks around. Hey, hey, look, it's Dave Chappelle.
I watched Babylon Berlin, the new season. Have you watched it?
No, I have not.
You know, it's very good, based on books of the same name, and they are my favorite genre, which is noir crime, hard-boiled detective stuff. It's in Germany, leading up to 1929. It ends with a stock crash in the United States.
It's in German, right?
It is in German, so you have to read subtitles. So I know a lot of the people listening to this podcast probably aren't going to watch it because you don't know how to read, which is why you're listening to this podcast. That's okay. The pictures are nice. Oh, God, they're identical.
Wait.
They're seriously identical.
I'm gonna download this image and see if I can put it on our back thing. All right.
But it's such a brilliantly written TV show and brilliantly acted. But most importantly, the sets are insanely detailed. Just the only show that's been like that lately was Ripper Street. Was also insanely detailed. Like, you felt like you were back in 1902 on that one. And in this one, you just feel like the camera crew time traveled to 1929 in Berlin and did all their shots there. It's pretty cool. And I learned a little German. Like, I didn't realize Krieg meant war, which is why Blitzkrieg means fast war. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Never occurred to me, because I don't care.
So I got the pictures up there. This is Dave Chappelle and Bokeem
On the
Woodbine.
right.
You know what? I'm pretty sure that Dave Chappelle's on the left. I'm not sure, actually. But look how... for half the movie, I thought it was Dave Chappelle. I'm like, wow, he's really a good actor. But it was not.
If I was that guy, I would work that shit hard, man.
Yeah. All right, so we're back. All right, so...
Yeah, Babylon Berlin, I highly recommend it. But I did that thing again. I watched it in black and white.
Oh, yeah.
And, man, it works. It's so good in black and white. And the music is incredible. We also... Did I talk about First? No. I talked about First last time, didn't I?
No, I don't know.
First is on Hulu, and it is it's a science fiction thing, but it doesn't feel like it. And it's all about the first astronauts who go to Mars. And they're led by Sean Penn, and he clearly works out really hard before every freaking scene because you can see every vein in his body is pulsing. If you cut that guy, he would spray like a lawn sprinkler, man. There's so much pressure in there. But, man, people forget what an extraordinary actor Sean Penn is.
I haven't seen him in a while.
He does a lot of, I guess you call it close-up acting work. I don't know. Everything is done with the smallest expression, but it's exactly the right expression. And it's just a treasure to watch him work. I mean, I had kind of written him off when I read parts of the novel he wrote recently. He wrote a novel.
I didn't know that.
It is horrible. It is just incoherent, like Nostradamic weirdo crap. It is impossible to understand. And, stay in your lane, dude.
Yeah.
But boy, as an actor, there's so many other good actors in that show, and it just doesn't matter because he outshines every single... You can't take your eyes off the dude. Not in a gay way, although that's fine. Just his acting is amazing. And I tried when he does exercises throughout the movie, and one of them is you take these barbells and you go walk across the bottom of a pool. So I told my trainer about that. He goes, yeah, we've got those downstairs. I was like, no way. So I went down and I tried to do it. I got about, 4 feet. And then, my chest exploded and I popped to the surface and I was trying to get air. It was pretty rough.
Yeah. I got a picture of him there. Is that
Yeah.
how he looks?
Well, yeah, actually, I know that's like a 30-year-old picture, but
I don't think it is.
put the one down there, that one, the trailer HD. That's for the actual show, I think.
Yeah, but I think this.
That a movie?
I can't download the actual.
Well, trust me. Just look at his shoulders in that thing. Just his shoulders in that picture. Look at that. I mean, they literally look chiseled.
Hang on. You gotta. I gotta put it on.
The show is, the pacing is incredible. The dialogue is incredible. Every piece of writing and science is good. But the thing that's really great is the direction and the music. The music is wonderful. There he is. Look at that. Look at those shoulders.
So look at his shoulders.
That's him in Chicago going, I need a donut. Where do I get a donut?
All right, so we'll go back to the video. So that's Sean Penn. Ah, wrong one.
Wait, what happened? What is going on right there?
I screwed up.
Technical difficulties, everyone.
Yeah.
So the other show, I wanted to call attention to a comedian because I have forgotten about this guy, and it's Pete Holmes.
I never heard of him.
Pete Holmes is he comes from College Humor, and he had a show right after Conan that got canceled and everything. And so for his show, he did all these digital shorts, and one of them is called Bad Man. So instead of Batman, it's Bad Man. It's scenes from Batman, just done terribly. and one of them is Batman trying to get his voice. He's like, I was trying to think like squeak like a bat, and they're like, no, please stop, don't say that anymore. And it's really funny. But the new ones that I saw, he plays Professor Xavier of the X-Men, and he's firing everybody. So he's calling him into his office and telling them why they suck and firing them and then flipping them off. And it's so ridiculously stupid. You got to watch it. He gets high quality actors to come in to do all the parts and roles. It's very, very good. I'm out of shit. I'm done.
All right. Well, the other thing I got. I'm going to start getting some. I got to take
We
you
can
out.
talk about Colbert last night.
I didn't see it.
That's how Connie and I usually end our night. And we watched Colbert last night. Colbert.
You see, I don't watch it because me and Annie end our night other ways.
All right. Okay. And gross. He broadcast his rehearsal instead of the actual show. There was no one in the audience except his staff, and he was drunk out of his mind.
Really?
Yeah, he was hammered, and it was very funny. And he said, the producers don't believe me, but I'm leaving a half hour after we're done with this rehearsal. And he did. That's what they broadcast, was the rehearsal. And it was ridiculous. There was no laughter, right? And he was laughing at the fact that there was no laughter. And it was it was like watching behind the scenes stuff. It was the most craziest thing ever.
Well, that's interesting. We're circling back to coronavirus now. It's going to be rough, and I don't think people fully comprehend yet the lack of sports in this country. Now we've canceled March Madness, which is canceled, by the way, not postponed. They postponed the baseball season, but that's going to start a couple weeks late. But
What are guys going to talk about?
Most
guys don't have anything else to talk about.
How are the TVs going to fill all the time? I mean, actually, you know what I was thinking is
Sports from other countries.
Marquee Sports Network, which I get, is the Cubs channel. And what I'm hoping they do, and I'm suggesting, if you want to take this, you can take this. You don't have to give me credit or nothing. They have been playing some classic games on Sundays.
Well,
I think they should put some classic games.
Yeah.
One of the things that I miss nowadays, because of we have so much stuff on TV, and it's easier to switch back and forth, is back when we were kids, you'd watch the Cubs game. If there was a rain delay, they'd play all these old games during the rain delay. And now they don't do that anymore. They just go back to regular programming, whatever. So I'd like to see them do that. Do some.
I think most guys, and I'm talking about your normal everyday guy, not intellectuals, not blue collar, not white collar, just whoever, just a normal everyday guy. You meet these guys a lot in your life, and all they talk about is sports. That's like, if they're not talking about a specific thing in their business that they're doing at that moment, then they're talking about sports, and it's quick. Like, the transition is quick. And if there's any silence in the conversation, they immediately fill it up with sports. And I think the reason most guys do that is because they're terrified that if they start just thinking about things, that they'll turn gay.
No.
I believe that most guys are. I think their
No,
guys are like
no.
that. I think they're terrified that they might actually begin to feel stuff, and that's like a gateway thing, a gateway emotion to becoming gay.
I think you're dreaming.
I think it's true, man. These guys, the only thing they have to talk about is sports. Why is that?
Because sports are interesting. It's you know, I mean, what I don't know. I like talking about baseball and football and stuff.
Yeah, but you talk about. I've never heard you talk about baseball, hardly ever.
Well, it's because you don't like sports.
Yeah, but you would still talk about it. You would still bring it up.
I talk about sports sometimes. Fine.
You talk about all kinds of stuff, man. You have a broader palette than that. I'm talking about
Let's
the
talk
guys.
about broads. No.
I'm talking about the guys who don't have. Like you meet them and you're like, wow. In your mind, you're like, all this guy does is talk about hockey.
Oh, I do have something else. Speaking of coronavirus,
Thank God, because any second now we were going to turn.
We're,
gay.
we're about to, yeah. But I heard, I forgot who it was. It was some either politician or news idiot talking about how somebody had called the coronavirus the Wuhan coronavirus, and how they said that was racist. Well, I think it was Ilhan Omar, and then but some other news people did it too. And I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, the news people were calling it Wuhan coronavirus 5 minutes ago.
And I don't think it's entirely inaccurate. I mean, it seems that it started in Wuhan.
It does. And what they're saying is that by putting it on China, that's racist. It's not. We have a long history of naming diseases from the places where they come. And I said that to somebody, and they're like, "No, can you think of one example? West Nile virus.
Yeah.
Ebola,
So fucking racist.
MERS, the Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, Rocky
SARS?
Mountain Spotted Fever.
SARS?
SARS isn't named after the place.
I don't know.
Rocky Mountain Spotted Fever.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Dave's cold.
To do something, to say something that people just do to identify. It's not like I have these Clorox wipes at work. If you look on the label says it's 99.9% effective in killing coronaviruses. And I'm like, they didn't change the label in the last 2 weeks. Coronaviruses are all around. This is a different coronavirus.
A novel.
A
That's
novel
what they're called.
coronavirus.
Novel coronavirus.
And so but it's still a coronavirus. It's like saying the Spanish flu, which is not racist.
Right.
It's a specific type of flu that came. Actually, it didn't come from Spain, but it affected Spanish people more.
But there are really dumb people in the world, and there are people that are so like they can't wait to call somebody a racist.
Yeah.
They can't wait. Like at the end of the day, they're in their diary like. Really was self-reflective today. Also, got to call John a racist. That fucker. I mean, like they can't wait. Like I'm one of those people.
Well, yeah, because you are racist. Look at the hat.
So racist.
You are anti-Smurf. Look at the fucking
the
hat.
Smurfs, fucking blue sons of bitches, smurfing their Smurfs all over their Smurf.
Yeah, there's only
Hate
one
them.
woman, and there's a bunch of little Smurf kids.
Yeah,
who is Papa Smurf?
What's happening?
Papa
right there?
Smurf is abusing that poor girl.
Yeah.
Right. Smurfette.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about Smurfette.
She was hot.
Just for a cartoon. I mean, there's only a few cartoons that are hot.
What was the other one? That
Jessica Rabbit.
Jessica Rabbit. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, and some of those mushrooms and
Speaking of
what was the Disney thing?
you know what else I watched and I will recommend.
No,
that
what was the
anybody
Disney movie that was all animated? What was it called? The one with the
Snow White?
No, the one with the
was hot.
classical music. No, she wasn't.
Snow White was.
She was
pretty.
wholesome, not hot. The Queen was hot. What about the one with the classical music and the mushrooms dancing and the unicorns and everything?
Fantasia?
Yes, Fantasia. The mushrooms in Fantasia. A little hot.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just saying. The
Okay,
goldfish.
one last thing before we and
Man.
another movie to recommend.
Those girl centaurs.
Everybody ought to see it. I think it's a phenomenal movie. It's called The Happy Time Murders.
Dude, you're preaching to the choir, man.
Happy Time Murders.
That is
Look
the
it up.
funniest.
It is.
It is outrageously funny.
Yeah.
It is gross.
Yes.
It is so gross. Really paints puppets in a new light, man.
You'll never. When you stick your hand in a puppet, you'll think differently. After
Though, one of the best jokes about puppets didn't come from that movie, but it should have been in it. As a friend of mine, one time I think we've talked about this, we were all sitting around, we'd been drinking, we're like, which, if you had to fuck a Muppet, which one would it be? So everyone is, Miss Piggy, and then they were all like Janet from the Dr. Teeth band. And Killshot just jumps in and goes, "What does it matter? It's all hands on the inside." So gross.
All right.
And on that note,
And on that note, I think we're going to end this podcast. So if you can't, if you're not seeing it on YouTube, we're going to have to upload the Facebook video to YouTube in a little while. So, but we'll be back next Friday. Hopefully, sports will be back on. And but if not, tell your friends, subscribe right down there, somewhere over there, or maybe over here, right down there.
right here.
And subscribe, tell your friends. We're trying to create a podcast that's like for people our age. So
Yeah, 70.
yeah. All right. Have a good week, and we'll see you next week.